Hello, guys. Welcome to Querying Science, Theology, Philosophy, and Spirituality. This is the LGBTQ Center for Science, Theology, Philosophy, and Spirituality. And today we are starting a new playlist entitled God is God's Nature is Your Nature. And we're going to have very many videos based on this. That's why it's going to have a playlist. And why we're doing this is to show people that whatever goes, what you need to know. Never forget that. The Bible is very clear that you are created in the image of God. Now, where do you see the word when they tell you you've seen a picture and you want to save? They tell you save the image, download the image. So what is an image? It's a picture. So you are the picture of God. If somebody wants to know God, they will see you. It's as simple as that. So why is that very important for us to know? So that every time you read the Bible, you can, whenever you see something about God, know that you can do it. Even Jesus dared us and said, you can do greater works than the works he did. Yet he was the Son of God. Yet he was God because he said he was one with God. Everybody, gay, straight, blind, deaf, black, white, poor, rich, is a God. Psalm 72, 82 verse 6 says that. Because we are children of God, we have his spirit. Our first ancestor received the spirit of God. The ancestor of all human beings. And even if the world was destroyed during Noah's time, God did not destroy everyone, meaning his breath still survived in the people who survived in Noah's family. His breath was still in them. And then it was spread, and now I have the breath of God. I have the spirit of God. And this is what I tell most evangelicals. Don't force people to get saved. You know, they are saved. They have the spirit of God. And Jesus Christ saved them when he died on that cross. That sacrifice was for everybody. So if you, yeah, that's okay. I'm not attacking evangelicals and saying don't tell us that you're saved or don't tell somebody to be saved. No, you are free to tell somebody from, because Jesus Christ is the uniter. He is the one who is reuniting everybody back to God. He's the reconciler, nobody else. Because the problem I have with the evangelical notion of salvation, they make it look like you have to work hard to become a child of God. It's wrong. It doesn't make sense. It means you need to die on the cross for your sins. And that's not what it means. Jesus Christ already died for everybody. So he has paid it for everybody. It's just that some people don't want to claim it, but it's theirs. He did it for them. As simple as that. So anyway, let's go back to this series where we're going to be discussing the nature of God. And to discuss the nature of God is to discuss your nature, the nature of a man. That's why the kingdom of God is the kingdom of man. Yes, the government of God is as simple as that, because we are gods. All of us are gods. We only vary in power. Like, I'm a god, but I'm not powerful. I'm not allowed to do certain things that the guys in authority have, you know. Do you know the guys in authority? Which passport does your president use to travel to another country? Want to stamp, check her, they check him. No, those are powerful people. They are gods. They are more powerful than us because we gave them power through an election. But for me, I have to be checked. I have to have a passport. I have to fill in things. They have to body search, all of that. I'm a god, yes, but a lower god. Yeah, that is all. So that's what you need to understand. That's why we are all gods, but in a hierarchy, pyramid of gods. And the higher you go, the fewer the gods become. That's how it is. So let's look at Forbes list. There are fewer people who are richer than most of us because of that. It's a pyramid. The best shape to study in philosophy is the pyramid because that's the world. Yes, that's the world. At the top of the pyramid is one God, the most high God. And we don't know if he's many or one, but we are told he's many. Do you know Krishna has very many personalities? Do you know Yahweh, the God of Israel, has 7 spirits? That is 7 personalities. So people who come and tell you that you're worshiping one God, I just laugh and say, where are you reading that? Elohim, 7 spirits. Now, let's come to what we're trying to say. How many spirits? 7. Now, when you come to John chapter 4, verse 24, Jesus says, God is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. Why must you worship God in spirit? It's because spirit. Now, what is a spirit? We are going to only define it today. We're just defining it from Jesus. It's a very short video. It's just to leave you to think, meditation. Now, in Luke 24, verse 39, it says, Behold my hands and my feet, that it is I myself. Handle me and see, for a spirit hath not flesh and bones, as ye see me have. Very important statement from Jesus. A spirit does not have flesh and bones, as ye see me have. So even if you try and say a spirit has flesh and bones, it doesn't have them in the type that has turned. Yeah, doesn't have it. So we are being told God is a spirit. So now come and put God, that verse of God is a spirit, John 4:24, here in Luke 24:39, and now you say, for God has no flesh and bones, as you see me have. So back to AI theology. One outcome is that God has no flesh and bones. That's one outcome. Another outcome is God does not have flesh and bones the way Jesus has flesh and bones. So his flesh could be a different type of flesh and his bones a different type of bones. But now this is the heart of the video. If God is a spirit and you are in the image of God, you are in the image of a spirit. You are in the image of a spirit. You are in the image of one who has no flesh and bones. Then why do you have flesh and bones? One thing could be the person who created man was Jesus Christ, a physical representation of the spirit called God. So when we were actually created in the image of God, we were actually created in the image of Jesus, the Son of God, the human being. And even angels have bodies. That's why there were some angels who had sex with the women of the world. It was because they have flesh and bones, but in the way Jesus has flesh and bones, but not in the way God has flesh and bones. So Moses even says, when he saw God, he saw his backside. Yeah. He says, the person whom he saw as God, God showed him his backside. Now we don't know whether he was naked, butt naked, or clothed. But he said, I saw the back parts, the heel. So that is the glory of God. Hallelujah. For all those who enjoy the backside of the body. So my point is, since God is a spirit, you are a spirit because you are created in the image of God and you are a God. So there's a you that doesn't have flesh and bones. Like when you dream, does that person who is yourself, does he have flesh and bones? That person who is walking, he's sitting, he's talking to people, have you ever touched him to know whether he has flesh and bones? Those dreams are self. And when I woke up, I had pain on that part, on my knee. And I was like, what was that? So, you know, we're still trying to understand that when you dream, is that body inside the dream connected to the physical body so that when somebody attacks that a part of your body, like if somebody hits your knee, when he hits your knee in the dream, your knee will also have pain. Somebody shot me and it hit my heart. So I did this and I woke up and I saw I'm not dead. But there are sometimes these dreams whereby you die, you think you've died in the dream. Oh my goodness, I will have to have a dream playlist. I have had so many different types of dreams. So I woke up and said, oh my God, I'm dead. In the dream, I was like, I've died. Then when I woke up, I really had to look at myself. And I felt, but I really felt I was shot. And I was not shot, with the pajamas I was wearing in the dream. So I was like, what was this? And I was not in on my bed in the dream. I was very far. I was in school. So I was like, what is this dream saying? So I was shot in a different location. And when I woke up, I touched my heart. But my heart in the real world was not bleeding. I wasn't shot in the real world. I was shot in the subconscious world where I was. So it could be that person who was shot is my spirit or my inner man. Now, the people, as I've told you, I discussed this and I'm going to do it again when I talk about dreams. The Aborigines believe that when you dream, your life, you are actually living your life in the afterlife. And somehow I believe them to some extent, or I can believe them to some extent, because when you sleep, you die. It's temporary death because you don't move a lot, there's very little motion. So you sleep, you close your eyes. Do you see dead people? Their eyes are always closed. So when you sleep, you also die. Now, as I keep on telling you my famous book, I love it. We travel when we sleep. So if we travel when we sleep, then we travel when we die. And we die every day when we sleep. So when you sleep, you're partially dead. Now, you're partially dead meaning you're not conscious. But your subconscious, your inner mind is not dead. It's not sleeping. And the reason why that happens is because the heart is still pumping blood and you're still breathing. So the brain is still on. So it will churn ideas. And the reason why the ideas are very easy to think is because you are now asleep, you're not conscious. So you're able to focus on what is happening in the brain when you are dreaming. More, like now I can be dreaming, I can visualize, but it's very hard because I'm I'm talking, I'm looking somewhere, I'm doing very many conscious activities that limit the subconscious ability, or they limit me from focusing on the subconscious world. But I can be visualizing right now. Like when I'm looking at you or the camera, I can want to visualize something. You see, I'm trying to close my eyes to visualize because it's very hard to come on and tell you something right now. If I just close my eyes right now and then I want to visualize myself eating and drinking, I can visualize, but it's still not so vivid because I'm not so asleep. So you have to be in certain waves, this is a very deep topic. I didn't want to go into this, but you have to be in certain brain waves for you to be able to access yourself in that subconscious world. So we have to understand that we are living in both conscious and a subconscious world, and that all of us, as I've told you, uh, God's nature is your nature. So whatever God is, you are. It's as simple as that. So God is a spirit, therefore you are a spirit. And we're going to do more series. This will be called the God's nature is your nature playlist, and we're going to do very many videos. Whatever God does, you do. Yeah. God creates, you create. God destroys, you destroy. Do you know why climate change is happening now? It's because we have the ability to destroy the world without God. Yes, we can destroy this planet without God. We have atomic bombs. That's all that's needed to destroy the world. You don't need God to do that. Why don't you need God? It's because you're God. It's as simple as that. So, look at what Jesus said, that my Father has mansions. Don't we build mansions on earth? Yes, it's because we are God. That's what you need to understand. That's why I said, when I look at Christianity, I question its philosophy, because I think it is reverse Platonism. Plato believed that what is in heaven is produced in people think is in heaven. When people build mansions on earth, it's that then they will now say, oh, because there are mansions on earth, then there are mansions in heaven. Like what I told you, Judgment Day is based on reverse Platonism, because people who started thinking that God judges people lived in a world where they were judges. You see, you cannot say judges exist when you've never seen them. You can't say there's a judgment day when you've never seen Judgment Day. So these guys had judges, and then they said, because we have judges here, maybe we have judges in the world to come. That's how it was. So that's what you call reverse Platonism. So anyway, we have already discussed. I've told you who you are today. And for the first lesson of God is nature, is your nature, you have learned you are a spirit. You are a person. Much as you have flesh and bones, there is another person you have in you that has no flesh and bones. That is your spirit. And that is where you're godlike. That's where you are a spirit. God has no flesh and blood, flesh and bones. Of course, bones are blood, so flesh and blood, no difference. God is has no flesh and bones. Even you have a person who has no flesh and bones. That's why when we die, we leave this flesh and bones here, because that one is not a God. Flesh and bones is not God. It's your spirit. That one is God. And that's why I've said when you die, you go to God. You don't go to heaven or hell. You go to God. That's where the spirit came from. The only thing you live in the world is your body, because it is flesh and bones. It is not spirit. And that's why I was even telling someone, you see, when you dream, the brain, the brain remains here on earth when you die. Yes, it's the one that rots. You don't go with the brain, the one that was helping you dream. So that's what I'm saying. If your spirit leaves the earth, to the afterlife, you'll forget everything here. So they're able to remember. Why you can remember dreams is because your brain is still here. When you wake up, you still have your brain. But a dead person cannot come and tell you anything, because his brain has been left in the soil and his spirit is out. And he can't come back to that body. For him to come and talk to you properly, it's either you see him in the spirit form, in a dream, or he comes to you. Of course, like what we did when we discussed about King Saul, when he saw Samuel, who had recently died, even it didn't finish a year, and Samuel appeared as a ghost to him. Our gods ascending. You see, we are all gods. So when people die, they become spirits and they travel. And it's a very hard work. People think that they can call up spirits. Oh, it's not very easy. That's why they are mediums, spiritists, witches. It's because those ones can do it. Those ones can go and wake up a spirit. But very hard to get there. And don't bother yourself. You just understand the science. Focus on the natural world rather than the spiritual world. It's very complicated to get to know the spiritual or the intangible or the paranormal world. All right, guys. See you. Thank you.